Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. It's been a couple of days, and you know what? I kind of miss being back on here. Yeah, and I'm glad that I am here. I hope you guys had a great weekend. There's a lot of wonderful, warm-hearted stuff that happened this weekend that maybe I'll get a chance to talk to you guys about and chat about a little bit as the day goes on. So definitely make sure you have your notification bells on. And if you're not subscribed, please make sure you do get subscribed, because we're just going to, chill out and just be talking about things that are going on. And I want to share my opinions and my thoughts, and I want to get your opinion and thoughts. So, you need to drop those down in that comment section for me. But I am excited to be back. It has been a few days. Quite frankly, I didn't anticipate that I would be out for a couple of days. But, sometimes it be what it be. It was so excruciatingly hot over the last couple of days. It seems like we're getting a little bit of a reprieve, which is nice. And how is it in your neck of the woods? If you are still burning up where you are, let me know down below, because I cannot be the only one going through this. I mean, the news says that I am not the only one going through this. But yeah, it's just been kind of crazy, and so many things that had to be worked on and looked into over the week at home. So, I'm just glad to kind of be in a space to where now we're just back and I can kind of breathe easy, talk about things that I find fun and enjoyable, and just get your opinions and thoughts about that as well. So yeah, we are diving right back into a new week. I hope that everything that is laid out for you this week happens in great form for you, and I hope that I can be a part of making some of that week enjoyable for you. So let's get on into it. As you can see, we are talking about summer cinema. Yes, summer cinema. Now, if you have been, kind of around in my community, whether it be on Instagram or YouTube or through the podcast, you will know that I absolutely love movies. I love going to movies. I love watching movies. I absolutely love movies. I love sitting out, vegging out on the couch, and just, kind of escaping from whatever I may be going through, no matter what it is, and just kind of just sit in fantasy of the movie. So I absolutely love movie. I think it's one of the best pastimes that you can have. It's definitely a relaxing situation for me all the time. And I also talk a lot about Lifetime movies because I enjoy a Lifetime movie. And so, this obviously lends into going to the theater. So it was really tough for me during the time where, the world was pretty much shut down, where going to the theater just wasn't, a workable thing. So it's nice to have kind of gotten back into doing that and seeing the big screen movies and stuff, and, just getting all of that ambiance and everything that's associated with all the fun, all in that one spot. So yeah, I love cinema. Now, one of the things that I find to be so intriguing at this point is the fact that, we're seeing a lot of renaissance going on. Renaissance with music, renaissance with acting, and one actor / rapper, which is really an all-time entertainer, would be Will Smith, right? He has, we've seen a lot of ups and downs throughout the years with him, but one thing that's been for sure is that we've enjoyed his movies and his music and all those types of things. So, it's just nice to see him coming back in a more positive light and a more positive situation, because there has been a lot that's been going on. And, everybody deserves an opportunity to do better whenever things don't go according to plan, no matter what side you're on that. But then try to come up with, just doing better, being better, and that's all we can ask for, right? That's all we can ask for. Nobody's perfect. People make mistakes. Sometimes you make the best decisions, or not the best decisions with the best intention, or whatever the case may be, wherever you decide on that. But, keeping it in the positive light at this point, as I'm glad that, we're seeing a lot of the energy, instead of being pent up and put in other areas, being put into the work. So that's where I'm at. I'm here for the work. So again, we are going to talk a little bit about what's going on with Bad Boys, and also as far as the movie Bad Boys 4 with Martin Lawrence too, because we cannot forget about Martin. Oh no, we cannot. Not funny man Martin. We cannot forget about him. And so therefore it is just such a nice nostalgic moment to see them both on screen doing what they do. And I'm just so happy for it. If you have seen the movie already, drop that down in the comment section. If you plan on seeing it before it leaves theaters, let me know below as well. I would love to know. And yeah, it's just been one of those things to just be so excited for. So what I have noticed, and what I think that the studios are also noticing, is that through the amount of people who actually came out to see Bad Boys, they're seeing a sense of revival going on within the movie watching era itself. Now, there's been other blockbuster movies that have come upon in the last couple of years as well. Mission Impossible comes to mind. Also, there's another one that Tom Cruise did, and I can't think of it right now. It'll come to mind. I'm pretty sure it's in this reading or in this sharing. And, so there has been some blockbuster situations going on. But one thing that's been really nice is to see that we're continuing in that same vein. And what this great reward season for this particular movie is actually opening up and bringing into. So we're going to get into that here in this sharing. So go ahead and just sit back, relax. This is just a kind of a feel good, more nostalgic based type of sharing for both stories, because I am wrapping up 2 stories into one here in this video. Just relax and definitely be leaving me your thoughts and what you think about, we're sharing about. So let's go ahead and plug on into the first story. And that is going to be, after the success of Bad Boys, Ride or Die, it might be time to breathe new life into classic Black films. So let's go and get into that. It shares that Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's box office hit may open doors for even more Black 90s nostalgia. When the news broke that the Bad Boys film franchise had crossed $1 billion at the box office, it was an emphatic statement for one of the big screen's most consistently bankable series. And yet, some Hollywood suits and industry insiders were confused by the dominance of the bombastic Bad Boys Ride or Die, which has ranked in upwards of $227 million worldwide so far. Film analysis and critics rightly credited the 4th installment of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's buddy cop flick with delivering a much-needed jolt to a slumping Tinseltown. The Hollywood Reporter gave a more backhanded compliment to the film's successful debut, stamping the achievement as a box office upset. Interesting. Probably because it will depend on what side of the coin you're on. Do you want to see him winning, or do you want to see him groveling? I guess we'll just have to figure out that as we go along. Variety strangely said in a scene in which Smith's character Michael Lowry gets slapped in the face may just save his career. As if longtime fans ever stopped supporting the Fresh Prince over that incident with comedian Chris Rock. Now, we've all seen the likes of that situation play out in debates that even I think most of us have just got tired of going back and forth with. But we feel how we feel. However, your decision and where you come to that decision is valid for you. So we're going to stick in that same vein. And by the way, I want to let you know that this sharing is actually coming from Anscape.com as well. So just to make sure that we are bringing that up. All right, so let's continue. Now, indeed, the success of the series shows that there's more room in the movie biz for offerings that connect with fans with classics that define the golden age of Black filmmaking in the 1990s. Among the demographic groups who viewed Bad Boys Ride or Die weekend's debut, where Black folks led the way as 44% of moviegoers, followed by 26% Latino and Hispanic, 18% white, and 8% Asian, and 4% other. Very interesting numbers right now. White film executives have consistently been trying to figure out Black nostalgia, said writer-director Chio Hadari Coker, whose screenwriting credits include Notorious and Creed II. The former showrunner of Marvel's Netflix series Luke Cage is not at all shocked at the durability of the splashy cop franchise, which first hit theaters in 1995. It's not just about getting older Black stars on screens, it's the movie that has to work. And that is so true, right? You can't just throw a bunch of people in and think that it's going to be okay or it's going to represent something of yesteryears. There has to be the chemistry. It has to be the right timing. There's so many things that goes into what builds into the emotional state of us when it comes to viewing things. Where does that movie take us? What does that bring up for us in our own lives? Because that's what the nostalgia aspect comes from, right? It's not always coming from what's on the screen. It's coming from whatever is provoked in you from the screen. Like, you remember when Bad Boys 1, 2, and 3 were maybe, aired at the time. You remember what was going on in your life. You remember how old you were. You remember what you were doing. You remember, kind of the newness of what this series had brought. So all those things play a part in the nostalgia moment. So let's go ahead and keep going. And as they shared, there's a plethora of black-led film properties from the 1990s that Hollywood could mind beyond Bad Boys. Set It Off, the groundbreaking 1996, who hasn't seen that one, all-women bank heist that featured Jada Pinkett Smith, Vivica A. Fox, Kimberly Elise, and breakthrough performance from rapper Queen Latifah herself, is ripe for return. Now, we have been hearing a lot about that. I'm sure Queen Latifah must hear almost in every interview or any type of encounter, when is Living Singles, the TV show, coming back? Is it coming back? Can we do a part 2? Is there a reboot in the making? And then also, the other one was Set It Off. When are we going to do another part 2 to Set It Off? Now, if I remember in Set It Off, it only ended with Jada Pinkett actually being able to get away, right? So at the end of the day, it would probably have to come up with some other individuals to continue on the saga, or are we talking about remaking? And sometimes you got to be careful with remakes, in my opinion, because, if they're not as good as the original, then they're going to be, panned for eternity. Case in point, Ghostbusters. I enjoyed Ghostbusters. Everybody enjoyed Ghostbusters. But then when the all-female cast-led Ghostbusters adaptation came about, all this backlash came. And I actually felt bad for the actresses that played in those pivotal roles, because it was really just so heart-wrenching, I'm sure, for them to, hear about the comparisons. So much so that I think, in my opinion, the next franchise element of that movie series, they created again to kind of hopefully put away what happened once before. And here's my thing. I think that there was always room for that particular piece or echelon in the grouping, that could have just kept carrying on. It didn't have to be a backlash or a situation where you felt like your entire life or childhood rather was ruined because how dare they chose to use a new cast to reinvent this situation, but it was I'll be honest with you, it was so much so that it even took me a while to go and watch the movie myself. And I mean a while. And I still haven't really seen it from the beginning. And maybe even thinking about this now, maybe one day I will decide to just do that, because it's always good to have your own thoughts about things as well. And you can compare that to what you may hear from others, and that's okay, right? We all can have our opinion about things, and that's fine. But I remember that it was so much hoopla about that movie that it was almost like, oh my gosh, he should have never made this movie. And some people really felt that way. So yeah, they just came out with another adaptation of it as well, which is a continuing on, but I still haven't seen that one either. So, nostalgia, what does that exactly mean? It has to connect, right? It has to connect to the time when you've seen it before, when it made you feel all the feels that you needed for a movie. And a lot of times when a lot of the actors and actresses have left the series at some point in time, whether through, just voluntarily leaving through and no longer going along with the adaptation, but also, from, no longer being with us, it can be a little hard to find the rhythm or the chemistry that is needed in order to kind of capture that what was from yesteryear. So really important, but I have to say, I think Queen Latifah gets asked that so many times, but I think that there probably was kind of a quietness now to the living singles portion, where I think it's kind of a done deal that's not happening anymore. And it's a shame, because that was a great TV show. So let's continue. A complete reimagining of Set It Off could bring together Kiki Lane as Pinkett Smith's Story, Zendaya as Fox's Frankie, Ayo Edebiri as Elise's TT, and Courtney Taylor as Queen Latifah's Cleo, with Gina Prince Bythewood directing. Or just imagine Stoney living off the grid somewhere in Mexico, only to have another set of bank robbers seek out her help, or the FBI finally tracks her down, leading to a series of harrowing events, which might be better. Maybe not necessarily repeating what was, but maybe trying to see if you can take that story and moving it along might be a better angle to go with that type of showing. Director Spike Lee's Raw 1995 New York crime drama Clockers, arguably the Oscar winner's most underrated movie of his career, could be translated to the small screen, much like his 1986 romantic comedy, She's Gotta Have It, which ran for 2 seasons on Netflix, and a sequel to the sexy 1997 romantic cult classic Love Jones, which that is one of my all-time favorite. I absolutely love the movie. I came across some comments about Love Jones, which I was just like so shocked, because at the end of the day, everything I've ever heard about Love Jones since it came out, first aired and all that good stuff in the theaters, it's always been good. And to hear people say like, oh, I didn't really feel it, I already get into it, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe you just had to be there. I mean, it's such a beautiful coming of age, realistic way of looking at relationships, and it was enjoyable. There was great actors, great actresses. Nina and Tate, they did their thing, and quite frankly, it still looks like they did back then, just even more beautiful. And it's really fun to see the reunion of that show, of those individuals coming together last year, I believe. I forget how many years it had been, maybe 25 years, 24 years, something like that, I don't know. But it was nice to see them come back and just, look as good as ever. And my goodness, we want to see a part 2. And I think it's probably pretty good, quite frankly, because like I said, it was really great. But let's move on. They would, like to see maybe they could catch up with Darius Love Hall, Lorenz Tate, and Nina Mosley, Nia Long, as they attempt to reconnect after years apart, which quite frankly, they had spent their time apart. So I would really just like to see how their life was together. I don't want to see them apart again. We've done that already, been there, they belong together, it is what it is. Coker recalled having conversations with the director, which actually late director John Singleton, about how his game-changing 1991 film, Boys in the Hood, a powerful depiction of life growing up in South Central Los Angeles, could even be expanded. And I think that there was probably a lot of opportunity for that movie to actually move forward in expansion throughout the characters that were left within, at the end off of the first one. We could definitely have continued on. There's a lot of the struggles really remain the same. And so it was a great eye opener, but then we could look to see how things have come over time, even if you even try to do something now. So yeah, if you've seen, Bad Boys, or not Bad Boys, but Boys in the Hood, you may know what I'm talking about. The same way that Quentin Tarantino has an interlinked universe with his movies, John has his own cinematic universe. Coker said he could have very easily had Boys in the Hoods. Trey and Brandy raised a kid who was a film student at USC, and amongst the people that he runs into is this old drunk from the neighborhood who at one point was rumored to be the biggest drug dealer in the country, named Franklin Saint of Snowfall. Their son decides he wants to make a movie about Franklin's life, or Brandy and Trey could go to the mechanic to get their car repaired and meet Jody from Baby Boy. There are all these different ways to spin off, right? And that's really interesting, because something that I think that we do a lot now, especially in the soap opera world, if you watch soaps, and I still do, they do a lot of crossovers, right? So it's a way to keep things fresh and new and reimagine certain characters. It also puts a connection between those characters, so that's also fun and adds just more spice to a storyline, especially when things are kind of going a little slumpish. You want to do something to kind of pick it up. So doing that would be great. And in a lot of these movies, were really featured in the same type of locations or close by. So having a situation where another character from another major film, such as the ones that were just mentioned, kind of crossing paths, it would kind of make sense, right? The city's but so big. And, if you're running and doing the same type of things, what's the odds you might be able to come? There could be a cameo feel for that. It could also lead to something even greater or bigger or different, still in same in line and still kind of tugging onto that nostalgic feeling. Now, Jermaine Hopkins, who played the affable still and director of Ernest Dickerson's 1992 coming of age drama Juice, which let me tell you, that movie, okay, that will be forever, will live in our culture. It is one of the most groundbreaking type of movies. It's such earthy and rawness that's attached to it that you can watch that movie over and over again and it just never gets old. Never gets old. They understands the lure of 1990s Black cinematic explosion that introduced such revolutionary directors as Singleton, Julie Dash, the Hughes brothers, and F. Gary Gray. At the time, there were only a few Black films like New Jack City, which was another big major film, and it starred quite a few individuals, and who can't and who will ever forget Nino Brown. Those characters are forever synonymous with that time. It was also another very gritty, realistic view. To some degree, some things might have seemed a little bit, whatever, for cinematic appeal, but it was a lot of those things going on during that time. So it touched on the realness of what was happening in life. And so therefore, it's always going to have a nostalgic connection to that, right? So at the time, there were only a few Black films such as New Jack City, Juice, Boys in the Hood, Bad Boys, and like that hit the mark, said Hopkins. who stars in the horror flick Sebastian. Now, I've never seen that. They're apparently streaming on the CW network. Now, CW has gone through such a overhaul, and I still have the app for that, but I haven't gone back to it for quite some time. So if you've heard of Sebastian or seen it, go ahead and drop it down in the comments. Tell me what you think of it. Is it worth the watch even? The characters reflected members of our communities, and that's why they were so believable. We also didn't have social media at the time, so if you lived on the East Coast, you looked at movies like Boys to enlighten you about what was going on our West, which is why these films continue to be impactful for years to come. And yeah, I would say that is definitely the case. Hollywood loves a trend, and the most evergreen of them all is nostalgia. From the $22 billion blockbuster sequel Top Gun, Maverick, and the 2004 teen film Burn Broadway show turned big screen, musical Girls to Unsinkable Bad Boys, and Beetlejuice, the follow-up of director to Tim Burton's 1988 hit. The past can't be profitable. These are nostalgic faces from the time of our youth, and Coker said the appeal of throwbacks, so it gives a chance for a lot of those actors and opportunities for rebirth in the hands of the right filmmaker. And this does not look like Beetlejuice or any of those things either, so I hate when it skips, but let's see if I can find, there you go. And it kind of links us into the next story, right? But that's okay. You know, sometimes the computer just wants to just jump ahead. I mean, like, calm down. We are talking about this right now. So let's go ahead and move forward and diving into a little bit more. Now, Coker speaks from experience. When he was initially tapped by Sylvester Stallone in 2016 to co-write the Rocky spinoff Creed 2 in 2016, the second film in the boxing trilogy focused on fighter Adonis Johnson, son of late heavyweight champion Apollo Creed and rising protege of legendary boxer Rocky Balboa. He had another character in mind to train Michael B. Jordan's title character. In an initial draft of Creed 2, when Creed reveals himself, I wrote a character that was based on a trainer, Ann Wolfe, that was going to be Clubber Lang's daughter. He noted that the brazen scene-stealing fighter played by Mr. T in the 1982 hit Rocky 2, and she was going to be the one to retrain Creed to rebuild himself after losing to Drago, because Clubber is the only person to have beaten Rocky in his prime. As Hollywood continues to mine our fave, studio heads would do well not to ignore the commercial and artistic flex of Bad Boys Ride or Die. With the almost comical upheaval surrounding Marvel's Blade reboot and star Mahershala Ali, how fitting would it be to watch Wesley Snipes reprise his iconic role as an aging vampire hunter? Or maybe we can see an update of Juice channeling the rebellious spirit of breakout star Tupac Shakur. Yes, I can see that happening, he says, because the younger generation has an admiration for it, Hopkins had shared. It amazes me to this day when young people approach or contact me via social media highly enthused about the movie Juice and its storyline, and they weren't even born when it was released. Yeah, because, you know, honestly, it was a time to be alive. It really was. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, do you see that Bad Boys Ride or Die is an opening for more nostalgic movies that we have come to love and miss in this day and age? I mean, there are so many great Black cinema movies that we have been able to, happen upon in the early 2000s, late 90s, and it really is always stated so emphatically that it was such a time and you just had to be there. And so why not find ways to recreate opportunities to bring that nostalgia back into the current times? You know, fortunately for us, there are a lot of those actresses and actors that are still here with us who can help to really bring those stories along, and as well as open and usher in new eras of new actors that we can, find to be beloved as well. So it would be so nice. I mean, I think of the opportunities of Love and Basketball. I mean, that would be really cool to watch, the baby girl who at the end, you see her hitting that basket. It's obvious what's going to happen later on. So why not take that and move that along? It would be genius, actually, considering such the love and openness to the WNBA as we speak right now. So yeah, it would have a lot of opportunity to probably do very well and still have that nostalgic feel that we all love from the previous and original movies that were franchised at that time. Now, what I didn't think about is Blade redo. Now, I hadn't seen all of the Blades, but if you have and you enjoyed it, let me know. Drop it down in the comment section. I know my husband really enjoyed Blade. I like a vampire movie. I love a good vampire movie. Sometimes I they navigate more towards the ones that have powers and stuff because it's just fun for me. And that is gory as such, but I love a story. So ones that have a nice touch story to it, and there's kind of that good versus evil happening in the midst, even though maybe some of those characters may originally always be considered evil, they're not. And I like stuff like that. So yeah, it's not what I thought about, but I guess at some point it could be good. Now, when you talk about an Asian vampire hunter, now that would be a twist. So what are we going to do? Make Blade get some kind of special potion that allows him to become human again? And then he now goes after the ones that, it may help him to be who he is. I don't know. I guess it's a thought, right? It's a thought. And with the right writers and the right story attached, it could probably work. So yeah, let's see what we can come up with, right? And let's flood all of the directors and the producers out there on social media or IG that lets themselves be known. Hey, this would be a great idea. You ever thought about that? But yeah, so that I thought that was really interesting to just see the kind of effect that the Bad Boys franchise was having, even beyond Will Smith's coming back into the fold of, doing what he does best, which is, movies and entertainment. And that's what we want to see. Not necessarily need to see all about the personal life. We want to see the work. And if the work is good, I'm here for it. I am absolutely here for it. I love talent. I love art. Let's get into it. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up for that particular story. And we're going to go ahead and dive into the other one you already got a sneak peek of. My goodness. So let's go ahead and just drop right on in, because we haven't talked about HARDRICT in quite some time. Yes. And I thought it would be nice to kind of just get in there. So let's talk about Cory HARDRICT for a minute. Now, I actually did a video at the time where him and his now ex-wife, Tia Mowry, were divorcing, and what it looked to be is how the separation was going, and, just how the finalization of that union had come about. And I remember being, very just kind of like that's sad that a family situation could not continue on with the matrimony part attached to it. But they both seemed like they're very happy about being able to move on. Obviously, it was something that needed to be done, and there hasn't been any reconciliation yet. I know there was always some whispers that people thought maybe they may try to get back together. I know there was also some comments made about, Tia, that maybe she didn't realize just how much it was going to be difficult to find somebody. The bottom line is, it doesn't matter what generational time you are from or you are in and that you were dating in. Dating is not an easy thing to do, because people are people, and it doesn't matter before or now how they are. People are people. And unless you are someone who is interested in being able to work on yourselves and making yourself the best version of you, so that way you can show up as the best version of you, you'll attract the best versions of others to you. Until those things are synonymous with relationship, we're going to continue to have problems with that. Now, that's not a very positive light on that, is it? But it is true. At the end of the day, if you want something and you want it in an authentic way, then you need to have it. And let's face it, in my opinion, my feeling, the university knows. They should be a university. It should be a school on this. But the universe knows when you're doing things with well and good intention. So even if you want to fight the funk, play the game, it's going to probably not win out on the end for you, because at the end of the day, intention matters. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Cory, because I think sometimes we hear a lot about Tia, but we don't hear much about him. So let's go into it. Cory HARDRICT, Tia Mowry's ex-husband, and also he is his own person, right? It's not just her ex-husband, he is his own person. He says that he's now back outside, which is, everybody loves saying that, as he stars in the new Tyler Perry movie, and we are watching for them, right? We are watching what's going on. So yeah, a new movie, which I think is going to be coming out sometime this week, and I'm pretty sure the sharing will provide that for us. It's going to be on Netflix. I'm excited for it. I know people hit or miss sometimes for Tyler Perry movies for people, but I rather enjoy them if I can just kind of get into the storyline. And I do like some of the actors and actresses that he brings into the fold. So, I kind of leave it for that. And I just look at the movie for what it is and what they're trying to put out there as the artwork for, and try my hardest to kind of compartmentalize other things that I may not care for, that may have nothing to do with the movie and what's going on here. So yeah, it's another expanded role for Tyler Perry. It's out there on Netflix. That will soon to be out on Netflix, and I'm going to watch it. How about you? So let's get into this. Cory HARDRICT, the ex-husband of Tia Mowry, as we already said, he's starring in a new Black movie titled Divorce in the Black, and it's also going to co-star our lovely Megan Good, and it's directed by none other than Tyler Perry. In a thriller, a young bank employee is depicted as being saddened when her husband leaves their marriage, even before they get a chance to know each other properly. Well, now that's interesting. And already I can tell by that first sentence that that's a recipe for disaster. If you don't know each other properly, how is this going to move on? So, let's continue. In a statement made while promoting the film at the American Black Film Festival, Hardrict said that playing the part had helped him get over his recent breakup and Tia Mari's divorce. So, this is what is so good about work, and especially those who are the creatives, right? They can actually throw themselves into their work and use that energy that otherwise would be wasted in dwindling into the negative and putting it into something good. So this movie is probably going to be really good. Just my thought, my opinion. I'm going to put it out there. He made a joke about being back outside, which made a lot of people believe he might be ready to start dating. Maybe so, maybe so. Hardrict says Perry called him personally to play the role of the husband, whom he declares is nothing like him. Maybe good way to segue. When asked if playing the character helped him heal, or had any type of revelation in his personal life by an audience member, he said, I would say that the characters Dallas and Cory, they're in no way the same, but this character is out there in the world. And yes, I think that one thing about these type of characters in Tyler Perry movies, you're always going to find somebody, you throw a couple of stones and you'll see someone is going to be just like that, or you'll know somebody who's just like that. So, this is the part where I think they try to make it relatable, because this could be you, right? This could be your situation. This could be you, could be that person. So yeah, let's continue. So I felt like when I looked at a character, I see what I could bring to it, some type of authenticity, some rawness, some truths. I felt like it was all there. So like I said, without getting into my personal life, I just feel like we all go through things in life, and sometimes you need outlets. Hardwick continued. This film was a big outlet for me to get it all out and put it out on the camera. Pretty much like when you're a dancer, you kind of leave it on the dance floor. So yeah, definitely can relate to that. So every emotion that I was channeling during those times, I was able to display it. It was real and it was honest, he explained. Okay, all right. We all felt it on set. All performances were honest because we have those emotions built up. And that's what was so great about doing this movie. Then he burst out and said, so yeah, it helped me out. I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm outside. Listen, I'm excited. I've been outside. I ain't been outside, in 10 years. He later clarified, saying he's not really outside, but that he is working. So yeah, sometimes, the dating time, you want to take your time. It's okay. Take your time. Right. But getting out the work and being in that professional setting, I think is always a good thing. Great outlet for sure. However, since the movie made its debut, many believe that Perry exploited both. So here we go. And probably, maybe so. I mean, as you can see, they probably both took this opportunity because Megan Good, also herself has, pretty much publicly went through a divorce not so long ago. And so is that possible? Maybe so. I guess it all depends on what they bring to the characters, what they bring to this world, what they bring to the movie. And you could just go from there. I mean, sometimes we got to just look at what the art is. These are grown individuals who made a choice to do the show. Are they getting exploited or not getting exploited? I mean, I don't know. Really, at the end of the day, if I'm making a choice to do this work and show you a side of me in this work, I think this is a great thing. So, I guess it's all about your opinion. Hardrict and Good's recent divorces in his latest project, while Cory Hardrict finalized his marriage of 14 years to Tia Mowry in April of 2023. His co-star Megan Good, as I shared earlier, had tied the knot with Devon Franklin in June of 2012, but their marriage had ended in June 2022. And as we all know, she is famously with Jonathan Majors at this time, and we are wishing the best for her and her relationship as much as we are wishing the best for Cory's relationships in the future, right? We're wishing for him to have the best of whatever it is for him that makes him happy. But I'm glad he's outside. I'm glad. I like Cory Hardrict. I think that there's been some movies that he's done in the past that I've rather enjoyed, that I think he did a really good job in. And I always felt that he was probably someone that was just on the cusp. And now I think there's an opportunity. Some of the movies that come to mind that he's done that I've enjoyed was Karen. That was a really good one. Pretty crazy. I think that's on BET Plus. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend you watch it. It's quite entertaining. He also did the one movie with the, I think it's called Twice Bitten, but that might not be right. But it's about the young boy zombie. And there's a potion, this movie's some years ago, and there's some potion or something that they come across that allows for the zombies to come back to humans. And Cory was in that. It wasn't a major role, I would say, but it did have some meat to it for the period of time when he was introduced into the film, and he did a good job there. I mean, he was a believable character. There's also oh gosh, I think it's one about I don't think it's called My Brother's Keeper, but I could be wrong. It has him and Keke Palmer in it, as well as Quincy. And yeah, it's a really, really good movie. It's actually been out for a few years or so as well. But I enjoy it, and I want to say it's not on BET Plus, it might be on Hulu. I'm not really sure where I saw it recently. It might be on Hulu, not sure. Might want to check that out though. But it's a good movie nevertheless. It's kind of relatable too for the times of what was going on, and it was just really good, and I think he did an excellent job, and he was a main character in that movie. So it was a really good movie about revenge, vengeance, and paybacks, I guess, but it had a lot of heart to it, more to it, and yeah, I enjoyed it, and I probably watch it again sometime here soon. But that being said, I am glad about all of the goodness that seems to be coming out about this movie season. I am really enjoying the Netflix movies that have been coming out most recently. So of course, I'm going to be checking them out as the summer goes along, because this is a great time of the year to just kind of relax and do just that. So I would love to know your thoughts about both of these stories. How do you feel about the nostalgia coming back in Black films? Do you have any ideas of what you think would be good crossover type movies or stories that could come out of previous ones that were out? If you do, those in the comment section, it'd be fun to see what your ideas would be. If you have seen Bad Boys 4 and you enjoyed it, let me know below. And what do you think about this new Tyler Perry movie? Are you excited for it? Do you think that it's going to be a good movie? I personally think it will be. I'm looking forward to it. I do believe it's coming out sometime this week. So, just kind of keep your eyes out for it. If you have Netflix, which I know a lot of us do, you'll probably get notifications when it does hit. But yeah, I think for that, I am going to bid you adieu for this video. But I definitely want to say again, thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you if you've been here all along, and I appreciate you also as well for those who have recently been part of the community. And I want to welcome you to the community, and we're so glad to have you. And of course, if you have not gotten a chance and you made it through the video and you enjoy recaps, reviews, and worthy news topics and commentary associated with that, and just being a community and conversation, I hope that you will subscribe and be part of the family. We'd so love to have you as part of this channel's journey. And of course, if you go ahead and give me a like at the end, I would really appreciate it. It helps the video. You know how it goes here on YouTube. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, I hope you do give me a like, and I would so appreciate it, of course, from the bottom of my heart. And definitely keep sure your notification bell is on all, because I will be dropping some more videos today. So until then, I think I'm going to bid you adieu. Take care, stay blessed, and yeah, have those notification bells on. Okay, because I'll be back here in a couple hours, maybe or so. Take care. Bye.